and good afternoon once again. Distinguished shareholders, the chairman of the board, fellow board members, employees, let's just say ladies and gentlemen before we turn this into a government meeting. Maybe let me end with all protocols observed. But thank you so much for joining us at our first annual general meeting as a listed company on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. This AGM in particular marks a very important milestone. The year under review was not simply about financial performance, it was about transition. We moved from being a privately held operating company to a public listed, governed and audited institutional. And we did so while we continue to grow and remain profitable. Now, the transition matters, and if many of you will recall, during the IPO, I spoke a lot about we did not pursue this listing for capital alone. We pursued it for credibility, for governance, and to position the company for its next phase of growth. And the listing process as well also brought about the visibility that turned us into a national known brand. I think a couple of years back, a lot of people didn't know what Dot Com Zambia did and what it was about. Now people do. It also brought some of our major clients into our company as shareholders, along with all of you, which is strategically important. And as you're going to continue to hear, it also brought oversight, broader ownership, and greater discipline in how we operate. And even a good example of that is this very meeting. As a listed company, we are required to have an AGM, within 3 months of when our financial year ends. This basically says you need to have your AGM before the end of March. And before you have your AGM, you need to publish your annual report and your audited financials. That's the discipline that we talk about, because as a historian, and I think many of the board members will attest to this, and to the many sleepless nights, we had to have our audited financials done before the end of February. And I think that's where the discipline aspect comes in. Now, let me just touch on the operating performance, but I'm only going to do this briefly because the CFOO will touch on that. But from an operating perspective, 2025 was a strong year for our company. We delivered record revenues, record profitability, we strengthened our balance sheet, and we did all of this while absorbing IPO costs, paying dividends, investing in our people. In fact, when I look at our numbers, the manner in which the IPO played out, we did end up having sort of what we call one-off in about 4 million kwacha in costs to get the IPO done. But then look at the numbers that we delivered irrespective of that. But our goal for the IPO was to come out stronger as a company. And I think in every sense of the word, we did that. And I think it's something we're all very proud of. And I will share something that I pointed out at the Investor Day we had last week. If many of you have looked at our financial reports, our balance sheet in particular, there's a particular line for me that jumps out, that our fixed assets are 1.1 million. I can tell you as the CEO, that's probably, that's 5 vehicles and our office equipment. What does this mean? It means, there are no showroom cars. Now, it's not because we do not like nice things. I think we all like nice things, right? And even many of you that have been calling me up saying, Albert Zenako is giving out gift bags. We all like nice things. But I think what that represents is how, we understand our responsibility to you and the capital you have entrusted. Those nice things will come. All those goodie bags, they'll come when we get the job done. And I think that's how we view our position. Now, we are entering 2026 from a position of strength. We have no debt, we have a strong cash position, and we have a profitable core operation that funds our growth. And our costs have gone up, because I think we've gone from about 12 employees to over 32, with more to come. And when I look at our numbers in particular, this is where I go off script a little bit, but towards the end of the year, we were generating about 1 million kwacha in profit. We've expanded, but we're just hovering just under that 1 million kwacha. The reason I bring this up is that's what we call operating leverage. And for a technology company in our position, in this kind of market, that is strategically very important, because what does it mean for you as shareholders? It means, let's just say we win a new project for, let's just say hypothetically, $1 million kwacha. That entire amount flows to profit. If we launch a new product and we get it right, that entire amount again flows to profit. This is because our existing expenses are already covered. Our salaries are paid. Our day-to-day expenditure are paid. And that is why operating leverage in particular is very important. That is the power of the model we have built. It allows us to be deliberate rather than reactive. Now, I know many of you get very frustrated by some of the negative commentary out there. And I remember talking to, because I talked to many of you, and I remember I had a conversation with a shareholder over the weekend, and my message to them was, do not waste your energy. It's one of the reasons I'm not on social media, but I say, look, let us be quiet, let us stay focused and stay focused on the job at hand, and let the performance and result speak for themselves. And I think that's the message you're getting from us, from me as your CEO, and from the management team. Now, let me just talk about the strategic priorities, because one of the important questions is always, where are we going? And I think this year in particular, there are three priorities we are focusing on strategically. One, it's going to be making our existing ITO business stronger. It's making the company more efficient operationally, and then we're going to focus on growth and diversification. And let me just touch on those three quite briefly. So first, we will strengthen our core ITO business, because that is the foundation of our company. It's about being operationally reliable, it's great customer service, and simply having a great product. The staff that work with me, I'm always reminding them of what is our golden rule. And our golden rule is take care of home. That will always be our first priority. And what I want you to think of is, I want you to think of our electronic tolling business as an apartment block. We own a building that can take about 1,000 tenants, but right now it is occupied by 300 paying tenants. And those tenants do not have to live in our building. They have other options. And what we should never become as a company is the landlord who collects rentals every month but never improves the property. How many of you have had landlords like that in the past? That will not be us. And in that spirit, very shortly, we will be launching the next generation of our product. We're calling it ITO Plus with AI. You know, this alongside other things like updating the electricals or the plumbing system is meant to make our building better. It means the tenants we have will not leave, and it allows us to go out, advertise, and tell everyone, we have space, you new tenants, come and live here because it's the best building in the market. But let me move away from the metaphor. Let me be practical about what that actually means. It means when one of our clients does log onto their system, one of our many clients, they can ask the system which vehicle exceeded their expected toll spending last month, which routes are becoming more expensive, and give me an alternative. Show me any suspicious transactions, or you know what, I'm loading my fuel information into your system. Can you give me a full cost picture of my journey? And within seconds, the system gives a clear and usable answer. And what I'm basically trying to say is, for many of you that do not understand the business that we are in, because we get that quite a bit, our tolling business is not about collecting payments, it's about delivering value. That is how we became the dominant company in our space. Not because it was handed to us, not because there is a tender of some sort. It's the intelligence that helps our clients run their businesses better, and that is how we're going to keep our tenants and attract the ones that we do not. Now, second, we are investing in systems, in governance, and in people. And what that means, and for the staff, unfortunately, it means more controls. We're thinking about enterprise systems. We're thinking about objectives. And what I want you to think about is, we want to build a company that can operate consistently and sustainably. If we are handling 650 million kwacha today, and we intend to handle 2 billion or 3 billion or 10 billion in the future, we have to be ready for that. And there's a lot of that cleanup happening behind the scenes. And third, we're focusing on growth and diversification. but not chasing growth and diversification at any cost. New initiatives and opportunities will be tested, validated, and scaled when they make strategic sense. And let me just talk about the growth and diversification, only because I think it's a frequent question that I get from many of you that I interact with. How is this company going to grow? And I will go back to the IPO where I spoke about the pillars of growth. And what I'm going to be is I'm going to be very practical, because what's happening on our end is those opportunities are now forming sort of into three groups. And this is what we're seeing. So the first way we're going to grow is we're going to build and launch our own products. That is actually our primary strategy. We are targeting at least 2 new product launches this year. One in the enterprise spaces. Remember, even in our annual report, we talk about the client shareholders who are also our clients. Well, they're the ones who are helping us build something we believe is unique to the market, and more importantly, it's a solution that the marketplace needs. Now, I will indicate, that part of how we're going to be able to move that forward, there is a regulatory aspect. We have applied to the central bank for our payment license. That is a variable we have to look out for to be able to do what we want to do going forward. And second was one that I talked quite a bit about, is that we're going to tap into the fuel market, the 65 billion kwacha fuel market, because we believe there is an opportunity there. But here are 2 new opportunities that many of you have not heard that are happening right now, and that is partnership opportunities. And I bring this up because this week in particular, the Zambia Development Agency had me at a meeting on Sunday, and there was one on Monday with a delegation of technology companies from Mauritius. And what's happening is the number of proposals we are sitting on is starting to become significant. And what is quickly becoming clear in these conversations and how we're replying is anyone who comes to us and says, here is my product, take it and sell it for me, Dot Com. That's not really a conversation that is moving. That's not moving. But the conversations we are interested in are the ones that say that where we say, does the product give us capabilities that make us stronger? Are you as a partner willing to put capital in it alongside us to make us a true partner with skin in the game? And how can you support our bigger agenda, both within Zambia and outside of Zambia? Now, these parties are mainly coming to us, but sometimes we do get asked the question, well, what do you guys, what do you as Dot Com bring to the table into any potential partnership? And I can respond quite confidently. We have, over 18 million kwacha in cash. We have no debt, but the ability to raise more capital if needed. We're a nationally recognized brand. We have relationships with over 300 companies, including some of the biggest in the country. And we are a well-run, publicly listed organization with proper, and I mean proper, governance structures. And more than 1,600 shareholders who believe in what we're building. So I can definitely do my part. And we need you as partners. If we're going to speak, you need to be able to do your part as well. I think the younger generation, I don't know if I can say it, the younger generation, I think, call that flexing. Flexing. But I think we've earned the right to do that. And there is a third group of opportunities happening as well. This one has thrown me off a little bit. Because, we are a small company, but sometimes people think we have money. Positions where companies are coming to us and saying, buy us. Now, in defense of some of the conversations we've been having, some parties come to us thinking, we recognize that our businesses would be better served and stronger under under our structure. So we are receiving offers, and acquisition has always been a part of a long-term strategic playbook. And at a certain level, that is how you grow. And we will consider them when they make sense. They just seem to be happening a little bit too early. But again, it comes back to we have to be methodical. My job and the job of the board is to ensure that we are not chasing every shiny new object that looks appealing. And we have to be focused. And I think I can say from experience, focus is something that a number of the board members have taught me over the years. Stay focused, And so launching our new products will come first. We will see what emerges from these other opportunities, and we will communicate transparently with you as shareholders as the year progresses. We will announce developments when they are ready and when they are material. And what I'm asking of all of you is just trust the process. I'm starting to sound like a politician now. Very soon I'm going to start saying what? So to? So sana. But I think that's actually my cue, now that I am sounding like a politician, that's probably my cue to close my remarks. So I think let me end by really again thanking all of you shareholders for your support and confidence in what we are building. I thank our board for its oversight and counsel. I thank our management team and employees for executing through a demanding year and delivering results while navigating significant change. Now, at a personal level, I am more confident about where this company is going than I have ever been at any point in its history. And I think you can all see why from my remarks, right? Definitely. Yes? Yeah. Are you confident about where this company is going? Please, someone give me a yes. Please, one camera. Yeah? Let me ask that question again. Are you confident about where this company is going? Yes. There we go. And I think we are in a great position. And I think, more importantly, I think the big takeaway is we have a plan. And it is a plan to deliver value to all of you as shareholders. And I think for that, and really from the bottom of my heart, I thank you.